Hey everyone, it's Rachel from The Little Ring Lamb, and today I have my Christmas book haul. So I intended for this video to be a sit-down video where you saw me, I talked about the books, you could see my facial reactions, and that just didn't happen. This week ended up being really busy with work, and not so much school, but more so work, and then just health-wise, I couldn't get there to film. I've been really focusing this year on my health and making sure that I'm okay and not pushing myself too hard because um, that's kind of my main focus right now. We're trying to still, obviously diagnose and stuff like that. So just to keep myself in tip-top shape because of all my things going on, I need to make sure I'm resting adequately and not pushing myself too hard. So sometimes that means I can't get a video done how I want to get it done. But I still want to post this today because obviously we're going into March and this is my Christmas book haul, and it's about time to get on this. So the books I'm going to show you are from a mixture of family members. We still exchange with some of our family members. We didn't see them, but we still drop the stuff off at their house kind of thing, that kind of jazz. And this year I received actually a lot of books because that was the main thing I was asking for, because I'm not going anywhere, so I don't need clothes or anything like that. Because what's the point of looking nice when you're literally just sitting around your house? I know I need to look nice sometimes for myself, but it doesn't give me as much motivation. Anyway, that was a very long. So the first book I received was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this one I've actually already read. It was one where didn't know too much about it going into it. I tried not to know too much, but it was one I kept seeing over and over again. And this book is essentially about a girl, and now I'm forgetting her name, so let's, check it out. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. Nora. Don't know why I forgot that. So it's about a girl named Nora, and basically she wants to end everything. And in this stage between life and death, she ends up going to the Midnight Library and gets to explore the what ifs of her life and kind of see how the things that she regretted, how they would have turned out if she wouldn't have stopped what she was doing and if they wouldn't have turned out to be regrets, if that makes sense. So it's kind of an exploration of the what ifs of Nora's life and her exploration of her actual life and what that can look like or what she wants it to look like. That was a very convoluted explanation, but it was a really good book. It definitely had me thinking. This was one book where I was literally tearing up. I believe I was crying. I was very emotional reading it because I was going through some stuff. So it really made me more emotional. I think the emotions were definitely heightened. The next two books I received are No Judgments by Meg Cabot and No Offense by Meg Cabot. This is the first and the second book in, I'm forgetting the name of the series now, the Little Bridge series, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm really excited because the third book is supposed to be coming out this upcoming September 2021, in case you're watching this in the future. And they actually have a novella, which I did read, but that's obviously not in print, so I don't have a copy of it here. But I've read both of these books. I really love them. They're very heartwarming, cute reads, and basically, I don't know how to give them, I don't really know how to describe them without giving them away. But pretty much the first book follows this girl who's moved to the town, and she's new and she's still trying to get over stuff that she's found out or stuff that happened in the past and trying to move forward with her life. And her life really starts when this giant Category 5, I believe, hurricane comes through, and everything starts to kind of come together for her, and she starts exploring more her feelings and everything else that comes with that. And then the second book, No Offense, is essentially about a librarian who's new to town. And one day at her job, she finds a baby in a bathroom stall and calls the police because obviously she's in shock. And the whole story kind of goes from there and exploring the working relationship between the librarian and the police officer and the case at large, like who's this baby's mom, what happened. And they have a lot of other things going on in the background, of course. They are, I would say, they do describe sexual scenes quite explicitly. So if you are a younger reader and you've read Meg Cabot, maybe like Princess Diaries or like her younger books, just be warned that there is explicit talk and descriptions. So if you are a younger reader, just make sure that you're you know that in advance, because I did not know that in advance. Obviously that doesn't bother me because I'm not a young reader, but just FYI, because I wasn't expecting that from Meg Cabot's books, and I was like, wow. So the next book I received is Luster by Raven Leilani. And this book, I don't know, a lot of these books I try not to know too much about because I read the description initially. It could have been months before the holiday, and then like I compile my like list, which I already have on my like devices. But once I like a book and I'm like, you know what, I want to read that, usually I'll read the description once more, and then I don't really read it when I get the book because I want it to be a surprise more so. But I know this book concerns a girl who gets in the middle of this couple's relationship, and she's initially invited in, I believe, and it kind of explores that. It's not a very detailed description, but I'm excited to get to this one. It's one that I've been looking forward to just because it sounds very complex and it sounds like it deals with. I really like books that are character driven, that you get to explore somebody's character and their motivations and their feelings. So I feel like this is going to be a very good one for that intent and purpose. The next book I received is Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Jassy. And this book was really good. I absolutely adored it. I read her book Homegoing, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and loved that. So I was really excited when I saw she had a new book out. So this book is basically about Gifty, and she's a PhD candidate at, I believe, Stanford University, and she's studying neuroscience. And that made me really excited to read this just because I am in a graduate program now, so reading more books about graduate students excites me. But this book was so deep. It explored not only Gifty in her present life, but it went back into the past to kind of see how she dealt with things and what happened in her life. So a lot of this book surrounds her relationship with her mother. And her mother, all you know is that her mother's gone through something, and her mother is not the same mother that she used to be. She's almost kind of like a shell of herself at times. So you kind of get to explore what happened to the mother, what happened to the family, everything they've been through, and you get to explore why Gifty feels the way that she feels. And you see her go through this program and through a passage of time. And it's just a really, like, it flips from the past to forward, but it's done so seamlessly. It's beautiful. It's at times heartbreaking. It was just an all around great book. The next book is A Stranger on the Beach by Michelle Campbell, which I've also already read. And this book I was excited to read as well, just because I've read 2 of Michelle Campbell's other mystery books and I really enjoyed them. They're just really quick reads that are thrilling, and like I just find her writing is very addicting. And this book was basically about a girl who, you know, seems to have it all. Everything's going great. And then she realizes that she's being kind of like watched by this man on the beach. And after something tumultuous happens in her life, she meets up with him, and then it's kind of finding out who's lying to her, who's telling the truth. It's a very twisty mystery. I definitely did not see where it was going. I don't know if it's my favorite book by her. I feel like every book has such a unique twist and perspective that I really enjoyed it, but I'm definitely really happy I read this one. I believe I have one more book by her to read, and then I think she only has 4 books out, or 5. Either 1 or 2 books left, and I'm kind of savoring it because I really enjoy her writing. Then I have The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley, which is a book I've been seeing like everywhere. I think it's also because the colors are very striking that I just automatically notice it. But this book was one that really intrigued me because, if I'm not mistaken, yet again, my plot summaries are going to be very, have a lot of holes just because I didn't want to reread the plot summaries for this video because I want it to, you know, still be a surprise-ish. But basically, this book is about kind of like an experiment where this green notebook is left somewhere, and then other people pick it up and fill it in, and they can read other people's entries. And it's kind of like one of those books where you kind of learn about different characters throughout the duration of the story, and I believe they all come together at some point. Very loose synopsis, but I know it involves a green notebook and it's passed around, so I can tell you that. We have Followers by Megan Angelo, and this book I've also seen whenever I go to the bookstore. I feel like it's very prominent. And this book to me kind of reads like a science fiction. I don't know if that's the correct label, or like dystopian maybe, but basically it's about this universe where followers are literally everything, which not too far off from today with some people, not everybody, but like literally the whole world in this book is obsessed with followers, and doing everything they can to maintain and keep their followers and gain more. And basically, one day, one of the celebrities that's being watched 24/7, like on live feeds, kind of Big Brother style, is finds out an earth-shattering secret, and then I think that's where the plot really takes off. It's what I'm really interested in getting to. It's just I have to be in the right mood to read a science fiction-y book, but I really want to explore this one. I have The Switch by Beth O'Leary. Last year I read The Flat Share and absolutely adored it, so I was really excited to see that she had a new book out, and it came out last year, I believe earlier in the year. But this book is basically about two women. One of them is older, I believe she's in her 80s, and the other one's in her 20s or 30s. And basically they decide to switch lives, switch homes, you know, just switch atmospheres to try out, you know, a new life, maybe see if things are better. And that's pretty much the gist of this book. So it says, can changing places change your life? And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to know about this book, because I want to, you know, just dive in with no really preconceived notions. I don't really also know how people felt about the second book. I know people loved The Flat Share, at least the people I was watching. I didn't obviously watch, you know, the most array viewing, but the people that I usually watch or the reviews I looked up, it seemed that people overall enjoyed it. It might not have been their favorite, but it was enjoyable for most people, if not their favorite. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this book fared after I finish reading it. Then I have The Emperor's Babe by Bernardine Evaristo, which I have actually already read as well. And this book is in verse or stanzas. I don't know what the appropriate name for it is, but this is my second book by this author. This book is kind of hard for me to describe solely, so I am going to read the back cover. So I'm just going to grab that over here. So the main character, Zulika, I'm not 100% sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but anyway, she is a reluctant teenage bride with no idea about true love. She's too busy sneaking out with the slave girls and drag queens, until one day she catches the eye of the most powerful man on earth, Emperor Septimus, and the trouble really starts. Silver-tongued and merry-eyed, this is a tale to make the muses themselves roar with laughter and weep for pity. Kaleidoscoping distant past and vivid present, The Emperor's Babe sings a song of womanhood and of survival in this thrilling, brutal, breathless world. And this book was quite the journey. I actually read it in a day because of the verses and also just because it was very gripping. And it's definitely one that I don't even think I have a comparison to, but I just know that I love this author's writing. If you haven't given her a chance, I would definitely read her works, especially Girl, Woman, Other, which is going to be making an appearance on my favorite books of 2020. That one, I'd have to say, has moved up to one of my favorite books of all time. Not even of 2020. I absolutely loved it. It was so gripping, and, like, I just want to continue reading this author's works. Like, I can't rave enough. Her writing just grips me so much, and her storytelling. So this is another book I've already read. It's I Am C-3PO, The Inside Story by Anthony Daniels. And I'm a newer Star Wars fan. I believe I started watching it 3 years ago. I've wanted to watch it for years before that, but I needed a guide, and, like, I've never had a friend who's really been into Star Wars. Like, some of them have seen it with their parents or their siblings, but nobody who's really been a diehard fan. So when I met my friend Ray, we watched them together because I have a lot of questions when I watch things, particularly if they are in more of a sci-fi action adventure universe, because I want to make sure I'm comprehending correctly. And I feel like I just ask questions very prematurely and they come up, but I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm that person. Obviously, I'm not going to ask questions too. Just a side note, I'm not going to ask questions if people are actually trying to concentrate on the movie. Like, if I'm in an area where I'm allowed to, like, when me and my friends watched the Marvel movies, they had, besides my one friend who didn't care, like, if I talked or not. She just, like, fell asleep half the time throughout the movie. But my other two, like, the other two people I was watching the movies with had seen them all already. So they were fine with me making comments or asking questions throughout the films. So, like, it's only in those cases where people have seen the films where I feel I can ask questions openly. So just to preface that. But anyway, C-3PO is my favorite character in the Star Wars universe. I feel he's very relatable. I'm a very nervous Nelly warrior type person, and it was great to see that personified in a sci-fi film, because I feel like sci-fi action adventure films, they usually have a lot of brave people, and the people that are nervous are usually not part of, like, the ones I've seen. I'm not saying this for all, but the stuff that I've seen, the nervous people aren't part of the action, really. They're like the people that need to be saved. So I like the fact that C-3PO also had moments where he could take charge. I think he's hilarious. I know a lot of people feel very polarized about that character, but I absolutely adore it. So I was very excited to read this memoir, and I think it does fan service very well. I'm not a fan who's been a fan for years and years and years. So when I say fan service, I mean if you've been a diehard fan for many years. And I just think he did a fabulous job summing up his time. He definitely spends more time talking about the first Star Wars film and even the first trilogy than the others, but it's interesting hearing his experiences and how they progressed throughout the prequel trilogy and this new trilogy that just finished. Then I received Wild Like Me by Louise Pentland. And Louise Pentland is a YouTuber that I've been watching for quite a while now. I believe at least like 7 or 8 years, maybe 10. I have no clue anymore. I've lost count. But I just really like her style as a YouTuber. She's very genuine and just a real, like, it's like watching a real person, which I really like. Like, she doesn't put on airs. She's very real and down to earth. And when I found out she was writing a book series, I was really excited. And for some reason, she has 3 books in this series. And for some reason, I just never got to it. And I felt very ashamed about that. But I'm really excited to get to this book. And I believe it's about a mom and a daughter. And it's a mom trying to navigate her life with just being a single mother with a child. If I'm not mistaken, like balancing career and family. I don't know 100% of that is true. I believe it might be. I need to actually look at the back of this because now I'm, yeah, okay, sorry. Exactly right. Yep, that's what it's about. And I'm really excited to get to this book and eventually the sequels if I do enjoy this book. So there's not much more I can say on that, but when I watch a creator and they create a book and it sounds interesting, it's really nice because it's like it's an extension of their content, but in a reading format, which obviously love. And the second last book is Mathematical Mindsets by Jo Boiler, and it has a foreword by Carol Dweck. And I am just really excited because this book obviously is about unleashing students' potential through creative math, inspire messages, and innovative teaching. And for my master's, I was originally doing thesis route, but now I've switched to portfolio route. So now basically it doesn't change too much of what I was focusing on, but I can't really say what I'm specifically focusing on, but I am focusing on mathematics. And I was a child who really struggled with mathematics. I cried every night. I have a learning disability in mathematics. And I want to, as a teacher, because just side note, some people I think I'm still in my program to become a teacher because I've had a few comments about that. I am an actual registered teacher in my province. I do teach. I substitute right now, and I'm doing my master's, but I still am a qualified teacher. I just got that certification in June because I graduated in 2020. But I just really want to make math engaging, especially when I have my own class. I don't want kids to go home crying or thinking that they're failures because they can't get math done. I want to really hone in on math and obviously literacy, because literacy is one of my loves, but I need to pay attention to my math teaching. And math is one of my favorite subjects to teach, which I thought is weird because I thought language would be my favorite subject to teach and like reading books and stuff like that. But I just really love how many things you can do with math and how you can make it more interactive for students. And I really want to explore that and make sure I'm doing the best job I could be doing, because the students are stuck with me. I could quit and do something else. So I want to make sure I'm being strong and doing the best I can for them, because obviously I want everybody to succeed. I don't want anybody to feel like I felt. So I'm trying my best to pony up, as they say, and learn as much as I can. So this book has like different activities in it. And also I like that it has stuff to do with mindset, because I feel like mindset is definitely something with mathematics that isn't talked about as much. They did add a part of that in the mathematics curriculum in my province, but I feel like it's still something we don't talk about, like how, you can fail at math and still be good at math, and sometimes failing is actually the best thing you can do. Like I read that in the Jo Boiler book, or other book I read, forgetting the name right now. But sometimes failing actually helps you, because you learn how to adapt strategies. You can learn from your mistakes, and I feel like that's not talked about a lot, and I want to kind of make it a point. Sorry, I just went on a long rampage about that. But I absolutely just get kind of geeked out about it. And the last book is Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangarembga. And this book is actually the first in a trilogy. So I originally saw the third book and I thought it sounded interesting. And then I looked up on Goodreads and saw that it was actually part of a series. So this is the first book in the series. And I'm not 100% sure about the synopsis still. But this is one that I actually won't spoil me because it seems very complex. So I'm just going to look up, went to the second book, of course. But the third book really intrigued me and I saw it everywhere, so I really want to start from the beginning. And basically, I know on Goodreads it has a very small synopsis that won't spoil, not really spoil, but like give me too much information so I can go into it as blind as possible. So this book, the character is basically navigating deft negotiation of race, class, gender, and cultural change. And it dramatizes the nervousness of the post-colonial conditions that bedevil us still. So I don't know too much about what specifically the character goes through, but I know it deals with heavier topics, and you get to see the character grow, because then by the third book I know the character is older, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited to see the origins of the character, because I do know a little bit from the synopsis of the third book, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm excited to get reading that one too. There's a lot of exciting books I'm looking forward to reading. There's just so many books still on my shelf that I want, well, not so many, but there is a lot of books on my shelf I still want to read, want to get to my new ones. So I'm trying to kind of do a thing. I'm going to talk about another video about my kind of reading schedule. So I'm reading more books off my shelves that were there for a while too. And I've been making good progress with that, I think. But yeah, that was my Christmas book haul. I'm really thankful for my family members obviously providing me with so many great books. Last year I was just a reading fiend, so this year that is my main focus. I've been really enjoying reading so much, and with school it kind of takes that a bit away from me, but last year even with school I managed to read at least close to 2 hours most days, which was really nice. But yeah, if you have read any of these books and want me to know if you like them, if I haven't read them, just please parse words and don't spoil anything. But if you've read them and you want to talk about spoilers, just remember in the comments to put spoiler in all caps and space down a bit, so if anybody's scrolling in the comments they're not spoiled. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching and for understanding that sometimes I can't do a face-to-face video, but I still want to make sure I'm consistent with my content, and I really appreciate all of you. See you later. Bye.